YouTube, how you doing? Murph here, bringing you another product review. Today's review is going to be on the brand new Apple Airpods Pro 2. We're going to talk about the specifications and everything that is new with the Gen 2 versus the Gen 1, but as usual, we're going to start off by talking about the design and the build quality. Now, as far as the design is concerned, the case itself is almost identical to the previous version. They're the same size, the same shape, they're almost the same weight. The new ones are a few grams heavier than the previous version, but ultimately in the hand, you're not going to notice any kind of real difference. The main differences as far as the cases are concerned is that the new one on the right-hand side now has a lanyard loop. Now just keep in mind that a lanyard does not come with these. I'll put an affiliate link to the ones that I use in the video description if you want to check those out. They're cheap, but they're pretty well made, and they come in a variety of colors. So if you want to check those out, you can. Otherwise, if you have one already, or if you're buying them, just make sure to buy one with a string that is as small as possible because these holes are pretty small. The only other real physical change to the case are the speaker grills on the bottom, and that is because the new generation does have speakers built into the case, and there's two main purposes for those speakers. The first is going to be using the Find My app on your iPhone or iPad. In addition to actually physically locating the AirPods, you can actually tap a button and play a sound from the speakers, so that if you lose these in like a couch cushion or you drop them in your car and they roll under the seat or something like that, they'll play a loud tune from the speakers, and it is quite loud actually to help you locate these. The other thing that the speakers are useful for is just kind of notifying you of certain actions. For example, when you first set these up and connect them to your iPhone or iPad or whatever, they'll play a sound to let you know that it's connected. Also, if you plug them into charge, they'll play a sound as well to let you know that there is a secure connection and that they are in the process of charging. Also of note, this case is MagSafe compatible. Now, as far as the AirPods themselves, again, not a lot has changed between these and the old models. You'll notice the sensors and the grills have kind of been moved around a little bit, but ultimately they look and feel very, very similar. Same size, shape, all of that. The only thing that is new with these is that they do come with a smaller tip now, an extra small. So if you're someone who struggled with even the smallest tip of the old ones and you had fitment issues, just know that there is a smaller size now to help accommodate more people. I envision it helping more like kids, younger teenagers, someone like that. But if you have a smaller ear canal in general, you should have no problem getting a perfect fit with the new version. Now, as far as the build quality, I'm not going to touch on this too much, just know that as with most Apple products, the build quality is fantastic. The new lanyard loop is made out of metal, so that's going to be very durable. As with the previous version, the hinge is made out of metal as well, which helps with durability. The hinge opens very nicely and clicks into place, and it closes with a nice satisfying click. The AirPods themselves, great, no complaints here. Unfortunately, with my previous version, I've abused these a lot. Over the past 18 months or so, I've dropped this case numerous times. I've dropped the buds themselves numerous times. And frankly, I'm shocked that this case is not cracked or that the hinge is not broken or something yet. And it's held up very, very well. And you can expect the same kind of durability and quality from the new ones as well. Now, as far as the specifications and new features from the new AirPods, I guess we'll start off with the obvious, which is sound quality. I was actually very pleasantly surprised with the sound quality from the new AirPods. During Apple's announcement and presentation, they spent much more time and focus on all of the other features besides sound quality that I was really unsure what to expect. I didn't really think there would be very much of a difference in sound quality at all, but surprisingly, there is a noticeable difference. Now, these are using a new chip, the H2 chip from Apple, and they're built with new drivers and amplifiers. All of that is going to translate to better sound quality, but I would say definitely in the lower and high-end frequencies are where you're going to notice the most difference, especially with bass. Now, I really didn't have any problems with the sound quality from the old ones, but if I had any real complaint, is that it was lacking bass. So much so that I use Spotify for my music, and I actually, when I first got these, I had to go into my Spotify EQ settings and use a mode called small speakers. That's the one that sounded best to me, and that's mainly because it increased the high and low end frequencies and made everything just sound a little bit better, especially the bass. And I was so surprised at the amount of bass when I first used these that I actually went into my Spotify settings and turned EQ off. And I would say that with the EQ settings off, these had as much bass as my old ones did with it on. So I wouldn't say there's a massive difference between the two, to be honest with you. If you're thinking of upgrading to these because you're going to be blown away at the amount of sound quality improvement over the previous generation, you're probably going to be disappointed, but there is a noticeable difference, and these do sound better. So that's the sound quality. As far as microphone quality is concerned, Apple has taken some steps to improve that as well. They say you should get better call quality, and they also state that the new ones should do a better job of filtering out background noise. I've used these for a few calls, and what I can say is that I really didn't notice that much of a difference in the actual quality of the microphones, but my voice did sound much louder, which is a big improvement over the previous generation because the microphone quality on these always sounded a little bit hollow, a little bit tinny, and ultimately just sounded too low. I wouldn't say that I've noticed a big quality or clarity difference, but I will say that my voice sounds much louder, and that's a big enough improvement for me. Now, as far as the two modes that are built into the AirPods, transparency and noise cancellation. Transparency actually doesn't sound a whole lot different than the original version for me, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Apple kind of knocked it out of the park with transparency mode for their original version, and while I don't notice a huge difference, it still sounds great. They did say that they took steps to kind of subdue certain sounds, especially higher pitched sounds like sirens and things like that, so that you don't hurt your ears, because anyone who's used transparency mode on these knows that it doesn't just allow sound to pass through, it kind of amplifies it a little bit. So to kind of protect your ears and hearing, they say that they've taken steps to subdue those louder noises. But transparency mode on these is great. Noise cancellation mode, again, they kind of knocked it out of the park the first time around. Apple is saying that you can experience up to 2 times as much noise cancellation out of the Gen 2. All I can tell you is what I've experienced, and it is a massive improvement. I personally wouldn't say that it's twice as good. I've used these in multiple different scenarios and environments, and they are noticeably different than the first generation. In fact, the noise cancellation might be the biggest upgrade, other than battery life, of the AirPods Pro 2. I would say off the top of my head that it sounds closer to probably like a 25 to 50% improvement. That's just a guess. That's just my way of trying to describe it to you guys, what I've experienced. I think if you're expecting double the noise cancellation, that's probably not realistic, but it is a significant improvement. Like I said, I've used these in multiple different environments, and the noise suppression here is much more advanced than the first generation. Now, as far as battery life is concerned, you're going to get an extra 6 hours out of the case versus the old version for a total of about 30 hours, and you're going to get about an extra hour and a half out of the AirPods themselves for a total of about 6 hours, which is a pretty significant improvement. And that's probably more of a best case scenario. No transparency mode, no noise cancellation mode, lower volumes, but still that's a substantial improvement in battery life. The last big feature or upgrade I want to talk about here is just gesture controls. They maintain the same gesture controls from the previous generation. Single press on the stem to play or pause music, double press to skip to the next track, triple press to go to the previous track, but now they've added an additional gesture control, which is swiping up on the inside of the stem here is going to increase, or swiping down will decrease the volume, which is a nice touch. The original version was kind of lacking on gesture controls. This kind of helps bring the AirPods Pro up to the level of some of the competitors out there with gesture controls. Swiping up or down will change the volume by as much as if you were to press up or down on the volume buttons once on your phone. And that pretty much wraps everything up. As far as my final thoughts are concerned, quite possibly some of the best wireless earbuds on the market of any brand, including the likes of Sony and Samsung and those other big name manufacturers, and obviously the best on the market for anyone using an iPhone or anybody in the Apple ecosystem for that matter. The audio quality is very good. There are different features such as transparency mode, noise cancellation, and just overall the integration with Apple products is top notch. It's really hard to even say anything bad about these at all. I would say these have the best audio quality than any other wireless earbud that I've personally used. And then you add in the integration with Apple products and it's just the way to go. So who should buy these? If you're new to the Apple family, maybe you're coming over from Android and you just picked up the brand new iPhone 14 and you're looking to buy some wireless earbuds, these are going to be the ones you want to get. The only caveat to that would be if you just can't afford the $250 price tag, because these are quite expensive. If you really just can't swing the $250, my advice would actually be to go for the original Airpods Pro, at least while they're available. I don't know if they're going to start phasing those out, but I know at least at the time that I'm making this video, you can actually pick up the original version on Amazon right now for like 180 bucks. And I'll put an affiliate link to those in the video description if you want to check that out. I don't know if that price is going to come up or if it's going to drop even further, but you can get a pretty deep discount on those right now. And the originals are still very relevant. So if you can swing the 250, get these. If not, I would go for these while they're available anyways. Now, if you already have some of the original basic AirPods, I think this is a nice upgrade. You're definitely gonna see a difference in audio quality and some of the other features from the AirPods Pro 2. If you can swing the $250, I would upgrade. The only people I would not recommend upgrading is if you already have the original AirPods Pro. I don't think you're gonna see a $250 increase in quality or features. Unless you have a reason to upgrade from your old ones, like your battery degradation is just really bad, or maybe you dropped them and the sound just hasn't sounded right for a while or something like that. If you have a reason to upgrade, go for it. Otherwise, if these are still in really good condition, I would hold off until you start to have an issue with the battery life or something of these, or they get lost or stolen or broken or something like that, then upgrade. I don't think I would recommend you upgrading for no reason. I don't think the sound quality difference, even the battery life difference or the noise cancellation difference is going to be worth that price jump if your original AirPods Pro work just fine. And that pretty much wraps up the review. I hope you guys found this video useful and helpful. If you did find it useful, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. Also, if you want to continue seeing content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be notified of when I post new content. And YouTube, we'll catch you later.